I'm Yaneli, also known as Miss Be Helpful, with another FinCap Friday brought to you by NGPF. In October 2008, a research paper was published online explaining the concept for an entirely new type of digital money called Bitcoin. The first chapter criticizes our traditional financial system by saying that people don't have any other choice but to rely on banks and the government to manage our money system correctly and not let it get to the point where our dollars lose their value. Satoshi Nakamoto is the anonymous writer of that research paper, but is also the programmer responsible for writing Bitcoin's online code. That explains why Bitcoin's code is written in such a way that it slows down the rate for new Bitcoin to be released into circulation. Satoshi wanted to make sure that the currency had built-in scarcity, which is something that government-issued money that most people use today doesn't have. But how does the rate of creating new Bitcoins get slower and slower over time? This is a process called Bitcoin halving. It's programmed into the Bitcoin code and it happens about once every 4 years. It cuts in half the number of newly generated Bitcoins, which serve as a reward to those who successfully contribute computing power to the Bitcoin network and add a block of transaction data to Bitcoin's network. These are called miners, and the new Bitcoins that are created when they succeed are called a mining reward. The first Bitcoin halving happened back in November of 2012 when the mining reward went from 50 new Bitcoins down to 25. Then the second halving was in July of 2016 and it went down to 12.5 new Bitcoins. That lasted through May of 2020 when the third Bitcoin halving cut it in half again to 6.25 new Bitcoins. Each of those events were followed by an increase in the price of Bitcoin, even if it was just for a short period of time. Now, in theory, if the demand for Bitcoin stays exactly the same, but there's a lower supply of it, then the price should go up. But theory is one thing and reality is another. The price of Bitcoin has been very, very volatile. And that could be one of the main reasons why a lot of lawmakers and regulators have repeatedly warned people that Bitcoin is speculative. The price can at times be driven by all the hype and all the FOMO, fear of missing out, which could be really harmful for investors. The fourth and most recent halving took place in April of 2024, which cut the reward down to 3.125 Bitcoins per miner, and that was about a total value of $201,250 based on the price in the middle of April 2024. Nobody really knows when the next halving is going to occur, but experts are saying that it's probably going to be in April of 2028. This halving process will continue until the maximum supply of 21 million Bitcoin are reached. And that's estimated to occur around the year 2140 if Bitcoin is still around by then. From there, Bitcoin miners will no longer be paid with newly created Bitcoins, but they will instead get paid with just collecting transaction fees. Now, the halving policy was written into Bitcoin's code in order to fight against inflation and maintain scarcity. Since Bitcoin halving controls and limits the supply of new Bitcoins in circulation, it's seen as one of the reasons why Bitcoin is considered to be more of a digital store of value, so kind of like a digital gold, rather than a digital currency that's meant to use it for day-to-day transactions. So what do you think? Is this Bitcoin halving a vital event that impacts Bitcoin's value as an increasingly scarce commodity? Or is this all just some technical change being talked up by speculators who are trying to inflate its price?